This is Mark Anderson for Kellogg Community College. This is part 2 of the 3-part video series to talk about the first test review. These are selected problems that will help you prepare for the first exam of Math 121 Intermediate Algebra. In this problem here, we're going to find the function values in this function. F of x is equal to x plus 4 over negative 3x minus 5. And f of 3 basically is asking me, what is the y value when 3 is plugged into my x? So to find that y value for f of 3, I'm going to plug 3 into every value of x in my equation. And I'm going to use parentheses to show that I have used some substitution here. So 3 plus 4 is going to be 7, and this is going to be negative 9 minus 5, which is negative 14. And as a reminder on this test, everything has to be simplified to its as much as it can be. So 17 over negative 4 reduces to negative 1/2. We're going to plug negative 4 into the problem again. You'll notice that these are both A because I'm just giving you two of the same problem to give yourself a little bit of practice here. And I would strongly encourage you to do these problems again on separate sheets of paper. You can get extra copies of these from my Moodle page or email me and I'll send one to you electronically. So negative 4 plus 4 is going to be 0. And then this is going to be 12 minus 5, and 12 minus 5 is really inconsequential because 0 divided by anything is 0. Now, for part B of the equation, we're going to plug c minus 4 into the variable x. So this is going to be c minus 4 plus 4 over negative 3 times c minus 4 minus 5. So this means we'll have a little bit more work to do here because there's nothing to apply in this with these parentheses. So this just makes c minus 4 plus 4, or simplifies down to the letter c. Down here we can distribute the negative 3. So this becomes negative 3c plus 12 minus 5. The parentheses drop off once we've used a distribution, and we can simplify the 12 and the 12 minus 5, which makes our negative 3c plus 7. And since this is a binomial in the denominator, there's no simplification at all of this fraction, and that is our final answer for f of c minus 4. And as another problem to give you practice, we're going to put our x plus 2 into our numerator for our x, so it just becomes x plus 2. And down here below we have negative 3 times x plus 2 minus 5. Our numerator gets simplified. X plus 2 plus 4 is x plus 6. And on our denominator, we're going to distribute the negative 3. So this becomes negative 3x minus 6 minus 5. And that makes negative 3x minus 11. And since this is a binomial in the denominator, there's no simplification in the numerator because the numerator is not a perfect match. Now, the next three problems on this side of the page are pretty straightforward because they're just asking for graphing. We're going to start off with a very straightforward problem. The slope is negative 1/3, the y-intercept is 2, because we're stating the slope, we're stating the y-intercept, and then we're graphing. Now, this is in the y equals mx plus b form, so you saw me quickly go write down the slope and the y-intercept. We graph that by putting a dot at the 2, which is the y-intercept, or the point 0, 2, and I'd like you to get used to writing your y-intercepts like that. That's definitely the A+ level. Alright, so we're going to put our dot here at 2, and then we're going to go from here down 1 over 3, and down 1 over 3, and there we go. You can see that I accidentally, before drawing this dot, I accidentally put the y-intercept in the wrong spot. Okay, let's move down to these other graphs. Now, these other two graphs here are, the equation is not in slope-intercept form, so it's probably best to convert it before we get our slope and y-intercept here on the screen. So we're going to move the x to the other side, so by subtracting the x from both sides, we then have negative 4y is equal to negative x plus 16. Then we divide everything by 4, and since this is a monomial, I like to divide these monomials by each term. So my negative 4 is simplified to 1, so 1y is equal to 1/4 x minus 4. And negative 16, 16 over negative 4 is simplifiable to 4. We're going to put that now, the slope is going to be 1/4. Notice that the slope is a fraction, it's not 1/4 x. The y-intercept, we're going to get clean on this and go 0, negative 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, there we go. And then from that dot up 1 over 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And there's your line. You could also go down 1 and back 4. That's a negative 1 over negative 4. And it gives you the same line. Okay, now finally this one, state the slope, the y-intercept, and then the graph. Just like the problem above it, we're going to move the 3x to the other side by adding. So we're going to add the 3x. So we get 6y is equal to 3x plus 12. Divide everything by 6. So everything gets divided by 6. Since it's monomial, I write it that way. 6 is simplify. Y is equal to 3/6, which is 1/2 x plus 2. And that means our y-intercept is 0, 2, and our slope is going to be 1/2. So we're going to start at 2, and we're going to go up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, and that makes our line. Okay. The next page here, let's go and move this down. All right. Now, the easiest way to test for a function, whoops, hold on a second here. Clicked on something in the back page here. Okay, great. The easiest way to test for a function is to use the vertical line test. Please don't abbreviate this. Use the vertical line test, and to see that if it hits a vertical line more than once, it is not a function. So the vertical line at any moment of time has to only touch the line that we're testing once, and if it touches it more than once, then it's not a function. Now, vertical lines that go up and down, what do we know about those? Well, they have an undefined slope, and the equation is x equals wherever it crosses the x-axis. And horizontal lines like this have a 0 slope, and that is going to be a y equals equation. And this is something that we can print on our calculator. Undefined slopes are not functions, and 0 slopes are functions. So vertical lines, not functions. Even though they have equations, they're not a function, and the horizontal line is a function. All right, so for problem 21, it says for the pair of points, find the slope of the line containing them. So we're going to use our y minus y over x minus x. The subscripts in the book are 2, 1, 2, 1, but you can use any order you'd like to. I'm going to go with my negative 3 minus 6 over, so that's y2 minus y1. And then I'm going to go with my 8 minus negative, or 2 minus negative 8. Now what that means is that when I'll take my numerator, which is 3 minus 6, which is negative 9, and this is going to be 2 minus negative 8, which is 2 plus 8, which is 10. And that is my simplified slope. Now it says find the equation of the line containing these 2 points. Now we know our slope from the previous problem, negative 9/10. But now what we're going to do is we're going to find the slope of the line containing these. So I'll choose one of my 2 points. Now I can choose either point to get me my y-intercept that I need, because my answer is going to have to be in some form of y equals mx plus b. So what I'm going to need to do is plug in my slope of negative 9/10, pick one of these 2 points, the first or the second one, and then solve for b. Now since both of these have a negative number in them, there's really no benefit to doing this here, to picking one versus the other, but I'll pick the one with the smaller numbers. So I'm going to step 1, write my y equals mx plus b. Then step 2, I'm going to plug in my numbers. I'm going to plug in for my y, my negative 3, plug in for my m, my slope, my negative 9/10, and plug in for my x, my point, which is 2, plus b. Now my goal here is to figure out my b. So this is going to be negative 3. Multiplying 9/10 times 2 on the calculator, this actually simplifies to 1 over 5, so this is negative 9/5 plus b. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my 9/5 to both sides. And if I take my 3 plus 9/5, doing the work on the calculator, my answer is going to be negative 6/5 equals b. And you can do all that work on the side calculator, and I'll kind of show you how to do that in just a moment. So my answer is going to be y equals negative 9/10 x minus 6/5. So again, to try to get this piece done on the calculator, you can just grab your calc. And let me, whoops, can't drag it onto the screen until I change back to the draw mode here. Alright, so for example, I had to go with my negative 9/10. This is just going back and showing you the calculator work that I didn't show before. So if you're taking 9/10, you can multiply that by 2, and this will give you a decimal equivalent, and you can click Math 1 Enter and then change that back into a fraction. And that's how I got my negative 9/5. Then I had to take my negative 3 and add my negative 9/5 to both sides. Whoops, forgot my 9 there. And it will give me another decimal, Math 1 Enter, and there you go. This gives you, oh wait, I'm sorry about this here. I left the negative there. Let me change that. So negative 3 plus, not my negative 9/5, 9/5, and that will give me my negative 1.2, and then this simplifies to my negative 6/5. So that's how I got my y-intercept using the calculator. Again, it's a positive 9/5 once I get that moved over to the other side. Alright, let's get moving on to problem 23, 24, and 25. Alright, let's scroll down here. Alright, that'll all fit on the screen barely. Okay, so it says, for this equation, find the slope, then graph it. If the slope is undefined, state this. That little statement, if the slope is undefined, that means if it's a vertical line. Horizontal lines have a slope of 0. Vertical lines have undefined slope. So let's look at this equation now. We're not going to be able to graph it until we get everything to one side, and you'll notice that this actually has, well, it has y's on both sides. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to move that 3y to the right-hand side here. So I get the y's on the left. Okay, so I'm going to have 3 plus y, because negative 2 plus 3 is 1y, is equal to 2x. Now I'm going to subtract the 3 from both sides. So y is equal to 2x minus 3. Now, it's for the equation, find the slope in the graph. I'm going to plot it on this piece right here. So I'm going to start at negative 3, 1, 2, 3. And from here I'm going to go up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. And I'm going to connect the dots, There we go. So I've connected the dots, so there's my line. Okay, now we got a more difficult equation, and let's see how this turns out. First thing I need to do before I move my y's to the left-hand side here, to get my y's all by themselves, is I'm going to distribute that negative 2. So I've got negative 2y plus 2x, and it's plus because negative times negative is positive, plus 2. And then what I'll do is I'm going to then move the y's to the left here. So I'm going to add 2y, add 2y. So I've got 2x minus 2y is equal to, on this side, 2x plus 2. I'm going to subtract the 2x from both sides because I want to move this one to the left, but actually what happens is they both go away, so now I've got negative 2y is equal to 2. Yeah, in moving my x's to the right side to get the y by itself, the x is simplified. Now this problem's going to work out because when I divide by negative 2, I get an answer of y is equal to negative 2. This is actually a line. This is a horizontal line at the negative 2 spot right there. So there it is, problem number 24. This is 24, and this is problem 23. Now to finish up this worksheet, let's talk about problem 25. Finding the intercepts and graph using the intercepts if possible, and a third point to check. Now, to find the x-intercept, what you're going to do is you're going to plug 0 into y. Now in plugging 0 into y, I've got 8x equals negative 16. Because if I plug 0 into y, the negative 4y actually simplifies to 0. And 8 plus 0 or minus 0 is 8x. And then we divide both sides by 8. X is equal to negative 2. Be careful when you write this, though, that when you write your x-intercept here, you're going to get an answer of negative 2 comma 0. That's the way it should be written. On my answer key that I have on your PDF, I accidentally put that in the wrong blank. But this is the correct x-intercept at negative 2 comma 0 right there. Now let's go to the y-intercept. So to find the y-intercept, we're going to plug 0 into x. Plug 0 into x. So what we're going to have then is negative 4y equals negative 16. So we plug the 0 into x, 0 minus 4y equals 16. So now we divide both sides by negative 4. Y is equal to 4. So this gives us the y-intercept of 0 comma 4, which is 1, 2, 3, 4 right there. Now it says do a third point as a check, and I think this is a very good idea. The point between negative 2 and 0 is negative 1. So let me try plugging in negative 1 in for my x there. So if I go 8 times negative 1 minus 4y equals negative 16, what I'm hoping is it gets this number in the middle, like a 2 there. So this is negative 8 minus 4y equals negative 16. Just going to divide that there so you don't see that these are overlapping. Move the negative 8 to the other side. Negative 4y is equal to negative 8. Divide both sides by negative 4. Y is equal to positive 2. So the point negative 1 comma 2 fits in right here into this graph, which is a perfect cut for my problem. Extend that line. So you're going to impress me on the test that way. All right. Well, that is the end of our second section. Let's stay tuned for the third if you wish to watch it.